We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week we showcase opportunities for creating new products and enterprises.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. 1 is for construction of my house, 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Lives transformed on UBC. Every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
Fellow citizens, thank you for diligently and consistently honoring your tax obligations. It is through your collective contribution that the government is able to provide social services. In spite of the simultaneous global crises that have hit our livelihoods and businesses, you have proven that as a people, we can rise up and still mobilize domestic revenues enough to sustain us as a country. As we close in to the end of this financial year, I urge you not to lose the momentum and resilience that you have demonstrated all year through. Please file your returns and remit your taxes in time to avoid unnecessary inconveniences that come with non-compliance. As Uganda Revenue Authority, we are committed to facilitate you in honoring your obligations through a reliable and delightful service. I invite you to use our various e-platforms to remit your tax contributions with ease and on time. We have extended all our working hours at all our border stations, the bonded warehouses, and service centers. Should you need further assistance, please contact us via our toll-free lines and our WhatsApp platforms. Tax is the surest way of liberating our country from the bondage of economic dependence. Let us all play our part, pay our dues, and develop our country. For God and my country.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Amabara gange ninyo kawaga Pamela amananu gali banzara masindi baitu nyikara kagoma maganjo so nkabandao nyikaliye ninkore byange at home nyara a landline number calling ya MTN so bunyakwasire nkajya kolona gamanze Zahara Toto, I'm calling you from MTN ohangwire motoka. I just said kali not believing as chikiriza anti dala kitufu yangambo singwire motoka abagagaruka kamba kuterere. So I'm so happy. Thank you MTN banange, it is real byamananu sibya fere.
Show them waka with MTN Mama Nyabo. Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. Giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money. Up next on UBC, brought to you by
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Yes, a very good evening once again. Welcome to our second edition of News Tonight. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. We'll start with a look at the top stories. Uganda Law Reform Commission 2-year report shows gross violation of human rights of Ugandans seeking jobs abroad. Government releases a report showing a surge of COVID-19 cases. Interreligious Council and the East African region religious leaders discuss Eastern DRC conflict, while Uganda's Tech Board Union eyes Olympics. Yes, a very warm welcome to News Tonight, the second edition. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa. The Uganda Law Reform Commission has released a 2-year report on the status of externalization of labor. The report has revealed that there was gross violation of human rights against Ugandans seeking jobs abroad. Ivan Kahwa has it in detail.
Uganda Law Reform Commission research conducted from July 2020 to June 2022 on externalization of Uganda labor reveals that there is lack of substantive legislation on externalization of Ugandan labor, gross abuse and violation of human rights. In 2021 alone, during the peak of COVID-19, 28 people died abroad.
They talked about battery, the beating. They talked about bullying. They talked about racist comments and racist tendencies. They talked about exploitation. When you talk about exploitation, you find, for example, a person has been taken to be a maid in one house, yeah, and you find that they do housemaid hopping. And then there's the issue of extortion, yeah, because some of the fees, like I already alluded to, are not supposed to be charged, but you find sometimes some recruitment agencies are doing that.
What is here is we are regulating recruitment companies here, but we also indicate how Ugandans are going to be recruited, and that is the embassy's role, the other side, to accredit the recruitment companies in the other countries.
Uganda Law Reform Commission recommends a need to harmonize regional instruments and increase consulates in countries where labor is exported.
You look at the number of course, the number of labor attaches we have in our mission. Even if we gave the labor attaches, the missions, the powers to be able to handle this particular activity, they'll be overwhelmed because of the sheer number of people who are going to these places.
Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is recommending for the amendment of the Employment Bill to insert in new sections to protect Ugandans involved in labor exportation.
A person shall not transact a business of a recruitment agency in Uganda without a valid license, because we are told to prohibit that. So that is how that section is going to read. We are going to just insert a section 38 in there to cater for that. Then the next one is we're going to insert a new section 38A, because there's already a 38. There's going to be a new section 38A and 38B in the Principal Act, which is going to talk about recruitment agencies being companies.
Uganda has signed bilateral labor agreements and MOUs with Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and United Arab Emirates to address the concerns of Ugandan immigrant workers.
To me, this is a very good step that government has realized the need to engage to ensure that the migrant workers that leave this country are protected in one way or the other. And then the question is, are these efficient? Are these efficient mechanisms that we can use to ensure that this whole process is transparent, to ensure that everyone involved does so in a transparent manner, to ensure that these migrant workers who go out there are protected?
We have the establishment of a joint technical committee, and it is Uganda has its committee, and then the country we have signed with, say, Saudi Arabia has its committee.
There are 215 recruitment companies that assist in the recruitment of labor in Uganda. Uganda Law Reform Commission is mandated to study and keep under constant review of laws and make recommendations. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, has convened a meeting of senior religious leaders from the East African region to discuss the ongoing conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The meeting, held under the auspices of the Inter-Religious Council of Uganda at Namirembe Guest House in Kampala, was attended by His Eminence Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, the Grand Mufti of Uganda, co-chair of the African Council of Religious Leaders, Bishop Francis Karemera, representing the Most Reverend Dr. Laurent Mbanda, the Primate of Rwanda, and the Most Reverend Dr. Ande Georges Taitri, the Primate of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Bishop Kazimba, the convener, said that the meeting was to reaffirm their commitment to peace, security and democracy in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the East African community at large. The religious, their joint communique stressed that they are deeply troubled by the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. They revealed how they are particularly concerned by the loss of life and property that has been brought about by the conflict, including the increase in the refugee crisis, tribal and national sentiments, xenophobic tendencies which could result into a genocide. The current situation in the eastern parts of the DRC, combined with economic downflow characterized by the increase in the commodity prices and of goods and services within the region, threatens to undermine the aspirations of the East African community. However, the religious leaders appreciated the steps being taken to integrate the Democratic Republic of Congo into the East African community and urged the political leadership to urgently use this framework to resolve the ongoing crisis. Government has released a report on the upsurge of COVID-19 cases in the month of June compared to the previous months at the beginning of the year 2022. The report was released by the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Chris Baryomunsi, while addressing a press briefing at the Uganda Media Center in Kampala.
The public has been cautioned on the increase in the daily number of COVID-19 cases. While addressing the press at the media center, Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Honorable Chris Baryomunsi, cautioned the public on the new Omicron variant.
Noted that there is a rise in the number of COVID-19 cases since the last week of May this year. I hope you know, as the media practitioners, that we are seeing a rise in the cases of COVID-19.
He said previously 20 cases were registered per week, which has risen to 600 per week in the month of June only.
Have increased from 20 cases per week between January and May to now over 600 cases per week in the month of June. And that is alarming because we opened the public space at the beginning of the year. The positivity rates were down. The number of cases were few, and we're saying from January to May, we were registering in the country about 20 cases per week. But in the month of June, we have now seen cases increasing to about 600 cases per week.
Baryomunsi also warned the public to disregard the social media rumor on the effectiveness of Pfizer being administered to children between 12 years to 17 years.
But there was this presidential, former president candidate, Kabureta, who was saying this vaccine causes impotence and so forth. That's not true. First of all, we have operations research, where we are following up all those who are receiving the vaccine.
He said the government will soon harmonize salaries of all public servants, beginning with scientists.
The government of Uganda has been increasing salaries of public servants, teachers inclusive. I think the last increment for teachers was 2019, not a long time ago. So the commitment of government to increase the pay of all public servants remains total, like we have said earlier on. And I had communicated much earlier that we intend to raise the pay for all civil servants.
The National Teachers Bill 2022 was also presented by the Minister of Education in the Cabinet meeting chaired by the Vice President Jessica Alupo during the Monday Cabinet meeting. Haruna Mtesasira, UBC News.
Now, the business forum at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting has been opened in Kigali, and the main event was graced by Rwanda's President Paul Kagame and Patricia Scotland, the Commonwealth Secretary General, at the Kigali Conference and Exhibition Center. The forum, which is the first and largest in-person gathering for governments and business across the Commonwealth, will run under the theme Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming with Focus on Global Reset. Samuel Sendon is in Kigali and he gives a report.
Business leaders and governments across the Commonwealth are meeting in Kigali, Rwanda, at the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of State Government meeting. The event is the first in-person meeting following a brief hiatus caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland enumerated on her goal of having a future of Commonwealth nations filled with prosperity.
There are many opportunities for us to work together to boost intra-Commonwealth trade. But what we know is that we have to have solidarity, determination, and courage. And our member states are showing all of those elements. We are going to improve connectivity, enhance cooperation, promote regulatory coherence and interoperability, improve trade logistics and trade facilitation, break down barriers, leverage digital technologies and e-commerce, empower women and young people as entrepreneurs.
The panelists at the fireside chat, who included Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, highlighted what they envisage as the common future for the Commonwealth.
There is already the understanding that we have to work for a common future. So we have to work at that and make sure that we get it. So I think it's work in progress. We are moving towards the point, and I am optimistic that the world has a lot of divergences, but at the same time, on everyone's mind and every nation's vision, there is thinking of that common future.
Future must be the future of the youth. And when I was just watching up there, and you said 60% of the population of the Commonwealth is less than the age of 29. So the future is here. So we got to make sure that we build the Commonwealth for the youth. It's 73 years old, but it's actually a very young Commonwealth. And the last point I wanted to make on the common future is what Malice said. We cannot have a common future without a common planet. So we have to have climate resilience. We have to make sure that, as also President Kagame and also Myoga was saying, that we also have vaccines. Today we are here, we are doing well because we have vaccines, but it's an inequitable access to vaccines. Only 16% of Africa has access to vaccines. So we cannot have that common future in which we all live unless we have equitable access to vaccines.
The business forum will run for the next 3 days, and the delegates are expected to deliberate on how to deliver a common future, focusing on dealing with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Commonwealth role in rebuilding the global economy. Samuel Senono, UBC News in Kigali, Rwanda.
Motorists in Kampala woke up this morning to another rise in the fuel prices, seeing the average cost per litre hitting 5,900 shillings at various pumps. We interacted with some of the drivers to give us their thoughts on the matter.
Motorists in Kampala are wondering how best to manage the skyrocketing prices of fuel in order to go on with their work.
If you use 3 liters of fuel, it doesn't work. You only need at least 5 liters. And of which at the end of the day, you find you have saved like nothing, because the prices we used to charge the clients, it has not changed. Even now, for example, from Muchira up to Kampala, it has been 10,000 sometime back on the border. But this time, if your client, you tell him that is now 15, he cannot use your border.
For me in ICT, the nature of our business is about making connections and moving. We travel a lot, we do surveys a lot, then we go and work on sites. So most of our work relies on fuel because we have to drive back and forth, customers, sites, and a lot of other things that we need to do. So we use fuel almost every single day. So the price of fuel directly affects the services to our customers because we have to charge them more in order to make ends meet.
Several governments around the world are debating subsidizing oil products, but Kenya, our regional counterpart, is contemplating lifting its subsidy for being too costly.
I take it as it is a general crisis. So, and I assume that maybe it will be for the meanwhile, as the government promised to us.
Our government can also pay for us to be the best decision because our storages are empty. That's what the Ministry of Energy said. So nothing you can say about that. The storages of buying more fuel, no, you can just pay for us some percentage and we also incur some expenses.
On the other hand, the need for an effective national fuel reservoir has been re-echoed.
The government should have fuel reserves. If other countries have fuel reserves, why not Uganda? And also they should speed up our own oil refineries so that we can also make our own fuel. Because we have the resources, why don't we have our own refineries producing fuel that we use? So I think they should, at the moment, short term, they should subsidize the fuel, but long term, they should make sure we also generate petroleum. Why not?
Currently, this 21st day of June 2022, fuel prices per litre in Ugandan shillings at various stations in Kampala were as follows. Total's petrol and diesel were both at 5,990. Shell's petrol and diesel were both at 5,940. Ruby's petrol was at 5,900 and diesel at 5,880. City Oil and Oryx's petrol and diesel were at 5,850 and 5,910 respectively.
How high will these fuel prices go? The question most motorists are asking themselves. The few that I've managed to talk to are contemplating on increasing the prices of their services just to be able to sustain their cost of living. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Mark Arnold in Kampala.
There's a developing trend that NUP President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert has been appointed as the new Secretary for Foreign Affairs at the NUP party headquarters. This has been revealed by the Secretary for Information at the NUP offices, at the new NUP offices, Gideon Tugume. But NUP spokesperson Joel Senyonyi refuted the whole story.
A new alleged National Unity Platform has unveiled new NUP party headquarters in Lubaga Division at Kabowa as opposed to Kamocha in Central Region. In 2019, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert was endorsed to hold the NUP's flag after signing a memorandum of understanding between NUP and People Power, which would last for 1 year. Kyagulanyi failed to renew his memorandum of understanding in the specified time. Now, the NUP leadership led by Nkonge Moses Chibalama, the General Secretary, has decided to take back its party ownership.
They have always failed to report back. They're not accountable. We don't know actually what happened in between from the time they took over the party to this time around, because it's now 2 years and we've never heard of them at all.
Gideon Tugumeda, in charge for information, told the media that Kyagulanyi is the new Secretary for Foreign Affairs in the new leadership.
So the members saw that generally Robert Kyagulanyi can do the good work for foreign affairs. He's always outside the country. He's always in the US, in the UK, in what, addressing the what. So he can do that very, very well. So the members suggested that he should be given that position.
But the NUP spokesperson Joel Senyonyi has refuted the allegations referring to the Chibalama group as masqueraders.
We will urge our members and supporters to treat these masqueraders with the contempt they deserve. Electoral Commission era namwe njabasaba mugende gye bali mbabuuze baani abakulembera NUP kubanga ne juzi batuwandiikidde waliwo ebiwandiiko bye baagala nga bwe tubeera in touch nabo kubanga akakiiko ebyokulonda ke kalungamya ebibiina by'ebyobufuzi. So
also, the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission, Paul Bukenya, on phone, clarifies.
Waliwo ebbaluwa gye twafuna okuva mu bakulembeze abamu abakibiina kya NUP baba members twagifuna naye nga akakiiko tujja kuba nga tugiddamu obutongole okulungamya ku nsonga eyo. Tewali kiwanvu nnyo kye tuyinza okwogerako kuba waliwo obuwandiike obwakolebwa namala okuzitunuulira n'oku.
Irene Faith Nantongo, Marian Namukose, UBC News.
Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, has called for supportive policies that regulate implementation of new innovations. She was addressing scientists at a 3-day 5th Annual National Biosafety Forum 2022 at Serena Hotel.
Science, technology and innovation will guide the country to achieve Vision 2040. Although there is advancement in innovations, Uganda still lacks regulatory guidelines on communication. Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, says Uganda targets science and technology to fight poverty and underdevelopment.
But the reason we are doing science, technology and innovation in the country now is for us to fight poverty and underdevelopment. And any institution that is going to be relevant to this cause must now reorient itself. The primary goal of what you're doing is not for me to exist as an institution, but for me to make a contribution.
She was addressing scientists at a 3-day 5th Annual National Biosafety Forum 2022 on the theme Science, Technology, Innovation and Regulation for Sustainable Industrialization in Uganda.
Where we build our innovations into businesses and we begin to reverse the flow of technology. We have been the valley where technology flows from out into here. We now want to become a hill where technology flows from out of us into the rest of the world.
Different institutions like Uganda Virus Institute, NARO, URSB and UNBS, Tropical Institute for Development, Innovation, among others, are exhibiting locally modified products. Deputy Executive Director NARO, Sadiq Kasimo, says government should invest more in agricultural research.
We need a lot of funding for research, agricultural research in this country, but also in the same vein, I do appreciate the government, the steps that it has taken towards supporting agricultural research to be sustainable. But still, we appeal for increased funding, for protected funding, ring-fenced in a way that it should not be hindered by courts. Some of the research activities, because of the nature of movement for trials across different agroecologies, may look consumptive, but in reality is part of the activities to achieving the key interventions. So,
participants advocated for a data bank that will help farmers access information. The Uganda National Council for Science and Technology's mandate is to provide regulatory oversight for research innovation in the country.
Myoga Member of Parliament Theodore Sechikubo and Kasanda colleague Simeon, former MP Simeon Subuga, are dissatisfied by the directives of the State Minister for Land, Dr. Sam Mayanja, for ordering their arrest. This follows a land wrangle of the late Kaye Ezra and Kagumba Erukana from Wachato sub-county in Nakaseke Central.
For over 12 years since the family of late Kaye Ezra of Wachato sub-county Nakaseke Central and Kagumba Elkana has been in wrangles over land. It attracted Myoga MP Theodore Sechkubo, who is also a lawyer, and Kasanda South former MP Simeon Subuga, who is also a family friend, to intervene.
These land wrangles that have been going on. But these matters started way back when the registered proprietor of this very land, Ezra Kaye, passed on in 1988. Now, Mr. Kagumba, in conjunction with Katwe, the elder brother, had forged a will to exclude all other beneficiaries. And they connived with Kagumba to have the same transferred into Katwe's names, using the chief magistrate's powers and letters of administration, which are way beyond the jurisdiction of this property.
And each and every office where I have been, it has been very clear this land belongs to the Kaye's family and they have the title. So what the minister said that me and my colleague will grab this land, that is not true. I came in here just to help these people, and I think facts are very clear.
Sechkubo says he's a practicing lawyer.
These are matters that needed to be clarified before he could come out and pronounce himself on such a wide impacting statement that he made. So I'm disappointed myself with the minister, and I want to put it clearly that for me, even when I leave my position as a member of parliament, I have the right to practice my profession.
They advised the minister to follow procedures in order to serve the two parties.
And as a minister, he's there for the rich and for the poor. He's not the minister for the rich only. Even the poor matter. Even the small and the big, they all matter in this country.
The family members, led by their family administrator Namsoke Jalia, were troubled by the minister's orders to arrest the two legislators.
Kitegedde nti Seddo Sekikubo ne Mwami Simeon Subuga ayagala okubakwata. Naye abakwatira ki?
In a phone interview with the accused, Elkana Kagumba says the family is giving out false information. Justin Nakami, Tanaba Kenneth for UBC News.
The NRM has started training women council leaders on party ideology and the roles of women leaders in their respective villages. The Deputy Secretary General Rose Namayanja opened the training and called for responsible council leadership while working towards the development of the party.
As the country gears up for the coming Village Women Council elections, slated for 7th July 2022, the National Resistance Movement, NRM, has today kick-started training for all women flag bearers for the Women Council across the country. In Central Region, the Deputy Secretary General Rose Namayanja called upon them to be proud of their party and work towards its development in the region.
So we are going to win these elections too, I want to assure you.
Namayanja challenged them to be patriotic at all times and urged them to be responsible leaders in their respective villages.
Pillars of socio-economic transformation, patriotism, nationalism, and democracy. These are the foundations that form the NRM government, and that is why it is difficult for it to be shaken. That's why other parties have had bigger issues, and NRM is what it is because of what they believe in. So that is what we want them to blend, what the NRM believes in and vis-a-vis the women movement.
The national chairperson of the Women Council, Hajat Farida Chibowa, took them through their roles and responsibilities as leaders and called upon them to fight for their positions in society. She, however, expressed a challenge of lack of funding for women councils from government.
To make them active, to make sure that every woman, no woman should be left out, beginning at the village level. Now that we have gotten the budget, we are ready to go to the grassroots woman. And the beauty with the Women's Council, the way we are elected from the village. Even me as a national chairperson, I'm a flag bearer.
Jane Ramchia, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
Secondary school teachers have threatened to join Uganda Teachers Liberalization Union or to form their own union and leave the Uganda National Teachers Union for primary school teachers. This has been disclosed to UBC by a teacher who feared on its investigations whether arts teachers are in a strike.
The alleged failure by UNATO to air out grievances faced by teachers and the salary enhancement for science teachers has made arts teachers to question whether their union has represented them fully. The increase of salary for science teachers has made arts sciences down tools. At City High and Kololo High School in Kampala, attendance was high, although teachers failed to comment on the alleged strike. However, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union President Vincent Elong says Uganda National Teachers Union did not play the right role to improve teachers' welfare.
And the question we are asking, which I've been asking, I asked them in different platforms, where have they been? Where have this union been? If they really care for teachers, from 2018, since they signed the agreement called Collective Bargaining Agreement, we have never seen them surface on the negotiation platform. Budgeting process was in 2019. Budgeting process was in 2020. Budgeting process was in 2021. Budgeting process for 2020 financial year 2022-2023 started in 2021 September. And this union has been quiet.
Elong says science teachers have lost hope in UNATO and proposed the formation of a union that will cater for the needs of arts teachers.
The information I want to tell the public, this group that are negotiating for teachers are just panicking because the art teachers have lost confidence, just like the science teachers have lost confidence in their leadership. And they are just trying to catch the attention of the members. But imagine for 4 years, they have never come up to say something about teachers. Then they come targeting money which is already enhanced. So I want to assure our members and the country that as science teachers, we wish well for all teachers.
Elong condemned the suspension of science teachers by the head teacher, Soroti Secondary School.
He's a NEC member of UNATO and was in a meeting that resolved to go for industrial action. He had targeted all science teachers in his school. In fact, when we called off the industrial action, he went back and denied science teachers returning back to class. Now he has targeted our regional chairperson.
In a letter written by UNATO to the president, it was alleged that in some schools, graduates of arts vs sciences have become personal. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
There has been heavy police deployment following Jinja High Court ruling in favor of Iganga Municipality in the case filed by the Member of Parliament Iganga, Mugema Peter Panado, where he was accusing the Municipal Council for conniving with tycoons to erect buildings around the Freedom Square.
Kimu kye baakolanga bakikoleranga mu nsobi badisregarding amateeka aga National Physical Planning Board badisregarding amateeka agava ministry y'ebyeitaka badisregarding ni permanent secretary wa local government buli bekyakolanga kikwa mu mateeka akobye municipality making sure buli kazimba akalyoko kagwe.
As Uganda continues to grapple with the land question, Century Property and Real Estate Limited has, as part of their corporate social responsibility, offered free lessons about the land tenure system.
Avenues to keep the public at par with the Landlord and Tenants Act have been emphasized by Century Property and Real Estate Limited. This after realizing government offered close to no guidance, especially to tenants in the new move that empowers landlords.
The tenant should worry about the law on the termination policies which has been introduced in the law. The termination policies here which has been introduced by the law, one is supply of notice of either 7 days, 1 month or 2 months. It implies that the moment landlord is tired of you, he just have to supply you a notice. It means the law has given a lot of power to a notice. It means you are going out by supply of notice. So you need to worry about that. That is so much important. It means you are going to be chased away by notice. And after being chased away by notice, if you refuse to comply with the notice, it means landlord has been given power by Section 43 that simply he has powers to re-enter the house in the presence of LC1 chairperson and in the presence of police.
With the landlord now empowered to act within a short time, Century Property and Real Estate Limited offer guidance on a way forward.
Many people in Uganda could not easily believe that somebody can own a plot of land at 1 million shillings. So most of them, whenever they would come to us, the question they have is it real? Is everything real? Now, this is what we want to tell you. It's Century Properties, everything is in line, it is real.
This initiative of educating the public about this Landlord and Tenants Act by Century Property and Real Estate will continue across the country.
Standard Chartered Bank Uganda has sunk more than 60 million shillings into the Climate Change Innovation Challenge. The challenge will involve secondary school-going children in a writing competition.
Let's continue.
Government of Uganda through public-private partnerships has invested heavily in avenues to save the environment. The latest is the Climate Change Innovation Challenge, in which Standard Chartered Bank has invested more than 69 million shillings.
So for the Ministry of Water and Environment being part of this initiative is high on our agenda, because the Ministry of Water and Environment is looking for all possible innovative means, and we are urgently in need of restoring our environment. So any such initiative, and more so if we have a challenge of this nature where people are going to think different, give us ideas, and that are going to be supported to, to do different things to restore our environment. We're very proud of this kind of thing.
This project, that is a brainchild of Environmental Conservation Trust of Uganda, will involve 10 schools in an essay writing competition dedicated to avenues of environmental conservation.
I think it is important to teach the young people to live in harmony with nature. That's the only way we can live on this planet. You need the tree needs you. I would like us to teach the young people to live in harmony with nature.
The project will climax on 8th July 2022 and has schools like Old Kampala Senior Secondary School, where the project has been launched, Gayaza High School, Kasangati High and Atlas High.
So we are right there, we are right on the mark, and I think that the ideas that you're going to generate from the schools will be the most appropriate tools for us to carry forward, because we would like you to innovate. And that innovation around your community is what Standard Chartered is going to support.
Government will bridge the missing gap in communication with its citizens by hearing from the voices of the ordinary Ugandan. The commitment was made by the Minister of State for National Guidance under the Ministry of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga.
It is every citizen's fundamental role to engage in governance, even after casting their votes. However, due to inadequate resources and negative ideologies on policy formulation, many can't share views and experiences.
What citizens are feeling, how they are understanding this particular challenge or context or situation, and then government is able to communicate to them.
Twawezaze Sauti za Wananchi initiatives was started in 2017 to help fill these gaps. While launching the second panel for the 2021 initiatives report on household, with face-to-face interviews of 3,000 respondents from all regions of Uganda, the report indicated 54% of Ugandans could read and understand English, 11% could read but not understand the language. The findings also revealed that 25% speak Luganda, 16% Runyankore Runyakitara, as only 3% master English. There is a slow influence on the medium of communication, as 60% get information through the use of mobile phones and radios, 8% read newspapers, 33% have access to television, as 13% use internet to access information on mobile phones, with 3% able to use internet on computers. At the launch of the second Sauti za Wananchi panel, Minister Godfrey Kabyanga Baluku pledged government's commitment to seek citizens' opinions for better service delivery.
Sauti za Wananchi went to the real population and they collected data, and that report is true. Those inequalities are there that we are trying to bridge. That's why now we are coming up with these interventions like the parish development model, which is also one of the interventions, following so many other interventions. There are so many other interventions which they can access. But the parish development model, that 100 million, is for only those households which are in that bracket of 39% who are still in subsistence.
Marina Nyanzof Twaweza demanded government for a surplus budget on agriculture to address food insecurity.
That's 61% from the data. 61% of Ugandans are saying that their main occupation, at least for the past 12 months, was agriculture, something that is agriculture related. But when we look at the issues to do with food security, you would assume that because we are largely earning from agriculture, that even within our households, we are food secure. But we have seen from data that we collected, and in October 2020, that Ugandans have some food security challenges. This is a worrying situation because you would think that based on our agrarian economy, that this is a matter that we ought not to have.
Hi Vanjuko, Susan Nabugude for UBC News.
Amabara gange ni nyoka wagao Pamela, amananu gali banzara masindi, baitu nyikara kagoma maganjo. So nkabandao nyikaliye ninkore byange at home, nyara a landline number calling ya MTN. So nyakwasire nkagya kolona gamanze Zahara Toto, I'm calling you from MTN. Ohangwire motoka. I just said, Kali. Not believing as chikiriza nti dala kitufu yangambo singwire motoka bagagaro kamba kuterere. So I'm so happy. Thank you MTN banange, it is real byamananu sibya feli.
With MTN Mama Nyabo, simply deposit 20k or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenure of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
The Kavaka Birthday Run 2022 is back!
on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasajja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAID, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Public Service invites all ministries, departments, agencies and the general public to the 11th Africa Public Service Day, APSD, scheduled to take place on the 22nd of June 2022 at Kololo Independence Grounds. The theme for this year's APSD is Bringing Citizens and Governments Closer, Service Delivery for Social Economic Transformation. The chief guest for the day will be the Right Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Robina Nabanja. There will also be different exhibitions from the different ministries and agencies, and the public is encouraged to have a walk-through to find out the services provided and the new innovations that have been put in place for efficient service delivery. Signed, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Service.
UBC Business News tonight. Welcome back from the break. State Minister for Planning with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Amos Lugolobi, has urged Uganda National Bureau of Statistics to enhance programs geared at sensitizing Ugandans on how to analyze, interpret and apply statistical data to uplift their social and economic status. This was during the launch of the third UBC Plan for National Statistical Development at Hotel Africana in Kampala.
Despite the establishment of the Uganda Bureau of Statistics 24 years ago in 1998, there is still low utilization of data generated by the Bureau, since most Ugandans still lack culture of analyzing and interpreting the same data for their use. State Minister for Planning says there is need for UBOS to make more concerted efforts on sensitizing Ugandans on how to use and interpret the generated statistical data for. This was during the launch of the third UBC Plan for National Development.
But the problem is most people do not understand these indicators. When we say that Uganda is at the middle income level, many people do not understand that. Because what simply says is that Uganda has attained a GDP per capita. I'm urging the Uganda Bureau of Statistics to explain this.
The new plan highlights the need to embrace modern information and communication, strengthening the capacity of statisticians in local governments, enhancing the legal framework of UBC, among others.
Data collectors, but in the field now, we can be able to get the data and validate its performance. And going forward, that's the way to go.
Plan for the national statistical development is key in as far as the Prime Minister's office is concerned. We need empirical evidence, we need evidence-based data in order to make appropriate decisions.
Among government ministries, departments and agencies which have so far finalized the adoption of the new system include Bank of Uganda, Police and Prisons, Ministry for Agriculture and Uganda Kingdom. Juko Collins, UBC News.
The former Chief Executive Officer, Uganda Airlines, has been arrested and charged with failure to attend before the Inspectorate of Government. This follows an investigation conducted into various acts of mismanagement of public funds by public officials at the Uganda Airlines Company Limited.
The Inspectorate of Government has arrested former Chief Executive Officer Uganda Airlines, Commonwealth Malaya, for failure to give information and facilitate investigations.
We are looking at the case of mismanagement of the airline during his tenure. So what you're talking about is completely different from what the Inspectorate of Government is investigating.
For him, he's saying he was unlawfully terminated, and that matter is going to be determined by court, and we cannot divulge into it because it is sub judice. Court is going to determine whether he was unlawfully terminated from office and so on. But for us, we are looking at the mismanagement aspect, because government has invested a lot of money in the national airline, and that money was put to waste. So that is the exact point the Inspectorate of Government is investigating during his leadership.
Section 26 and 27 of the Inspectorate of Government Act 2002 states that a person on whom a summon has been served does not attend as ordered. The Inspectorate may issue a warrant of arrest.
It is not a witch hunt at all. The message we are passing out there is when you're taking on a position of responsibility in the government of Uganda, you have to be very, very keen on how to deal with public resources and ensure that there is value for money, ensure that there is accountability, ensure that systems are operating very, very well without shortfalls or gaps or hiccups.
The public has been warned against disobedience of the Inspectorate of Government orders, but rather urged to cooperate. Cornwell Moleya is held at Central Police Station in Kampala. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
UBC News tonight. Members of the Myoga circles in Namaingo district have been advised to invest wisely as a way of saving themselves from poverty in households.
With 3 constituencies, Namaingo district benefited from the Myoga program. The State Minister for Finance, Haruna Kasolo, urges members of different circles to learn from other regions whose circle members have progressed. Leaders have also thanked government for the Myoga initiative, through which people at the grassroots level are reached and rendered support.
Government chimuchenjagala nti ezudde nti yazuula nti omuntu oli asembayo yali tanakwatibwako nga bala bakwatiddwako bafunye emirimu abasoma naye negamba nti ekwate kwona asembayo, and a Myoga program yemu ku the key initiatives eziyamba omuntu owa bulijjo.
Beneficiaries hailed the implementation of the Myoga program for improving their standards of living.
12 million makumyasa twagabaganya sente edo twalako betuwaako twavaawo twatole sente edindi twadikolamu ekidiba ky'engege. Engege ebidiba tuna ebidiba bibiri era biri mu mitwalo mulamba ogw'engege. Kale engege edo tuli kusaba bisabe Katonda nti n'aba atuwaire amaanyi ne tudikungula mu mwezi gw'omwenda tusobole okufunamu emiliyoni 7. Emiliyoni 7 olwo tudda kusobola okukola kabiri tutandika okuwula banaifu kabi tuguliremu ku engege edindi.
With a great number of the population living on the shores of Sigulu Fishing Island, the minister offered fishing gear to the fishermen circle. Among 54 circles, Namayingo district received seed capital of 1.68 billion shillings, disbursed 1.7 billion shillings, scored total recoveries worth 250 million Ugandan shillings, with total savings worth 565 million, recording 1,827 beneficiaries.
Uganda Landowners Association has organized a 2-day expo to create awareness of land owners' rights and those for tenants. James Galabuzumukasa, the executive chairman of the association, wants to use this expo to develop more land rights and produce land use knowledge in mobilization of resources for land development.
The Expo of Landowners is expected to find solutions to the escalating land wrangles between landowners and Bibanja holders.
To mobilize landowners and tenants in Uganda to fast track their land use and usage rate for socio-economic transformation with the support of government and other stakeholders. To provide a networking platform for landowners and tenants holders and stakeholders to share information learning and promote unity and interdependency, and to generate workable solutions.
The coexistence of those with the land and those without warrants a common understanding through awareness to benefit both parties.
Owners and tenants, in order to avail land free of conflict and ready for development for economic inclusion. We shall consider agribusiness for rural setting and a condominium share pattern for urban setting.
Through this expo, experts are expected to provide dynamic land wrangle solutions, enabling landowners access financial support to develop their land.
Land grabbing is happening because people do not have not ensured security for their land. When you don't have a land title or a document that shows that that land belongs to you, why do you think it cannot be stolen?
The Expo of Landowners of 31st of August to 1st of September 2022 is expected to attract at least 20,000 landowners, 300 exhibitors and tenants. Abdul Nasser Lukomwa, UBC News.
People living at Sigulu Islands in Namayingo district are worried over fishing activities on Lake Victoria that are likely to plunge them into unemployment. They claim that all fishing gears were confiscated and destroyed by the UPDF due to illegal fishing mechanisms.
Ekizinga kino bajjajja bajjajjaffe baakibeerako emyaka mingi.
A site of Sigulu Island is defined by fewer boats, unlike a fishing island whose site is canoes, oars and fish nets. Although it is daytime, fishermen look disturbed and worried over what the future holds. Their livelihood depends on water, although the poor fishing methods have put them into trouble.
Balemesa ebyonnakani tutera okukuba n'obukejje emmamba ne tuba naffe twebeesaawo nga kati ng'enva nga bwe tutegeera. Embeera si nnungi nnyo okusinziira ku nnyanja nga bagitaddeko kwa ekkufulu.
According to local leaders, the intervention by government to curb overfishing was a good move, but consequences were not thought of. Thus, the devastating situation caused by poverty.
When operatives came on the waters, people had not yet been well prepared, and people turned to illegal gears as a result of poverty, because the proper gears goes for a lot of money. Like one boat of fishing nets costs around 15 million shillings, and few people can afford that.
An island which once distributed fresh fish to over 12 districts in the Myoga sub-region, the trade volume has shrunk by 30% since 2018. The women toil through small businesses to earn a livelihood because their husbands' fishing gears were demolished.
Afanya tu biashara kidogo kidogo, na ukienda mara huko unashikwa, mara ukipeleka tambo unapeleka omena nje ati ni vibaya. Sasa unakaa tu na watoto wanasoma.
It is quite conceivable that life here at Sigulu Island on Lake Victoria is not as promising as we thought, but we need to understand what people and government must do to improve the standards of living of over 20,000 people here on this island.
Batuyambe kale bana n'obutiba batwebye ebyokuba ebyetaagisa kale balebe tutunya nnyo n'ebyetaagisa abenga tuyigiriza tubivemu.
We as a local government, we are encouraging more so the production department to come up with the fish caging, because fish caging is a system that we don't go hunting for the fish. You feed them, and at any given time you can harvest. Out of those sales you can improve on your livelihood.
Some households lack what to eat, but as the day breaks, every family will settle for a meal. Maybe government will have to design special programs to eradicate poverty. Joshua Kagoro, UBC News at Sigulu Island in Namayingo district.
And that brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for being part of the bulletin. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. With the whole team here, I wish you the best of the night. We'll leave you with the weather forecast report here.
Have you ever heard about Show Your Stripes Day? Today is an International Temperature Stripes Day. And for Uganda, temperatures have been changing. Since 1900 to 2022, the temperatures have been changing. For Uganda's day, they've been from blue color to red color, which shows an increase in temperature. And the changes in temperature are one of the indicators of the global weather change patterns. That's why we are having changes in our weather today. Thanks for joining UBC. I'm Daphne Kabasita Nsamba from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Today, most parts of the country had sunny conditions, though some other parts of Uganda, we had cloudy conditions with showers, especially in the evening hours. According to a report that received this morning, rainfall, Kotido reported the highest amount of rainfall of 58.0 millimeters, and then Mobende, we had 3.5 millimeters. According to the satellite image of Africa, we see that there were winds coming in from Indian Ocean towards our country, and also there are some winds that are coming in from Congo towards Uganda, contributing to the rains that we are having, especially in the northern eastern part of Uganda. Tomorrow we're expecting to start the day with sunny intervals around the lake, in most parts of the country, and around the lake we are expecting showers. Later in the afternoon we're expecting showers, thunder showers in the northern sector of the country, and then other parts of the country we're expecting sunny intervals, apart from Kampala, where we still expect thunder showers. Temperatures expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, that is the northern sector of Uganda, 28 around Lake Victoria, and then in Kabale Highlands we're expecting temperatures to rise to 23 degrees Celsius. Going beyond Uganda, we're expecting Dar es Salaam, New York, and also Beijing to have showers with temperatures rising to 23 degrees, that is in New York. In Dubai, we're expecting sunny conditions with temperatures rising to 46 degrees Celsius. That's what we had in our store. Continue tuning into UBC. Have a blessed evening.